All right, I got this really cool Marshall amp, and it's the AS100D Soloist. It's kind of made for like acoustic guitars, but this one is really cool. It's 3 channels. Well, technically probably 4. They could probably call that a 4th channel, because you can use your acoustic guitar here, and you can use another instrument here, or like a microphone. And then it's got the channel 3 here, another microphone, and then you have an aux with its own volume. So it's kind of like its own little mixer here, and it's got built-in digital effects, and it's got this little section here for this is great for the microphones and acoustics, because you can do like a parametric sweep to try to get rid of feedback, which on acoustic guitars it can be a real pain. So this is, it's super cool. And my friend Gary, who plays in a duo, Avian Aura, he's used this for like the whole PA, I think, at a coffee house before. And so it's such a cool, and it sounds really good too. That's the thing I wanted to point out. It's stereo. It's got 2 woofers and 2 tweeters. You'll see when I pull the grill cloth off. Then they're real beefy woofers, because this thing is heavy, as you can see. I got a hats off to Gary. He broke this handle, and he came up with this clever fix of using just an old leather belt. How cool is that? But this is a super cool amp, really versatile. And I don't know if they make them anymore. I think they might have phased them out, but if you can find one that was working, get it. If you do like solo acoustic stuff, this thing, you don't need a PA. This is it. This whole thing can do your guitar and your vocals, and it's super cool. You can plug in your, stuff to play music in between sets. Great. It's super cool. So what Gary was telling me is, he said channel 2 here was totally dead. And I plugged it in, and I can confirm that. Channel 1 works fine. Channel 3, plug a microphone in, works fine. All the effects works. I didn't really mess with that. He wasn't worried about it, but channel 2. And so I'm gonna do a few things and see if we can get channel 2 working again. And I tried both instrument and microphone, and both of them totally nothing, not even static comes out. So it's totally dead. So let's go ahead and take this beast apart and see what we can find. All right, I'm removing the grill cloth here, and I kind of stopped to kind of show you how it's put together. So basically you can see somebody that's trying to, a couple dents. Somebody probably tried to get this off before, but you want to get some kind of tool in between the two. I use like plastic tools for like cars. I do use for like popping panels off, so it doesn't like push into, like the metal pieces like this. But basically you want to get in there, and then you just pry it off. It's not screwed in. You'll see it's, see like here is a piece of Velcro, and that goes to like here. So it's just basically Velcroed in. So once you kind of get it going, it'll just pop right off, and then you can just pull the whole piece out. And then same thing when you put it back in. Kind of put it back in, just roll it in and push it so the Velcro sticks together, and that's it. Okay, now we have the front cover off. Then we want to take these 2 screws out. Sorry, 4 screws. I'm already took a couple screws out, because what we want to do is behind here is there's going to be a couple packets of wire. So there's like a wire that comes down to the left and then a wire that comes down to the right, and they're gonna be zip tied. You can kind of see here, these are the wires I'm talking about. But we have to cut a zip tie, and then what that'll do is it'll give us enough wire to pull back out this hole, and that'll allow this, the amp section to be pulled backwards out of the amp with enough wire. So let's take that speaker out. All right, here's that one speaker out. And what I did is there was a zip tie. It's like right in this area, right by my thumb. It was zip tie like this. So once you cut that, it gives you probably another 6 to 8 inches of wire. And then we'll use that wire again to pull through this hole and out. So just make sure when you're looking at it actually it shouldn't matter, because the left one has the red and black, and then the right one has the orange and black. So if you just connect it by here, which you shouldn't need to do, this is enough wire to allow you to pull the amp out without actually removing. You don't have to remove these, which I actually did, you know, just because I thought I had to, but you don't have to. So let's pull on the amp section. Okay, you get the amp section out. It's held in by 8 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's one over there and one over there. Just take those out, and then this whole section will be loose. All right, here we go. Let's try to do this one-handed. So if you just kind of push on it, you might have to wiggle it up and down a little bit. If you pull on that, and then you'll see wires here. You can even pull some of that out as you're pulling out the back. And here's the back. Let me get to the back here. You can kind of just take it slow, wiggle it. And as it starts going, those wires you'll see, they're pulling out that hole there. So that's why I wanted to cut those zip ties. So if we just keep pulling, there you have it. Pull it out. I usually just rest it on top here. And there you go. And then you can see I already prepped this. So I actually pulled off these knobs here. All these knobs are the same here. They just pull straight off. And then from there, each one of these pots that had a knob will have, here we go, this one sides left, that one, let's see it focus. That one still has a nut and a washer, so you have to remove, and these I already removed. And then this one also has a plastic nut. And then anything that has an XLR has 2 screws, so you want to remove these. Here's another 2, and then the aux input has another screw here. So once you remove that, then you have to take out, there's a couple wires flipping around here in the back. There's a couple wires. Let's start on this side here. This wire harness goes to the bottom, and then there's a couple more over here. Sorry if that's hard to see. This guy here, sorry, goes to the bottom, and then this little guy goes from top to the bottom. So usually what I do is I take out the bigger, that one, and this guy, and start to pull out the bottom board, and then you'll see with this 2-wire harness, it's easier almost to unplug it from the bottom once you start to remove that bottom board. All right, now I just I just pushed out that bottom board, and if I'll flip it around again, you can see here it is, it's kind of loose now. And then you can see this, there's that, let me try to focus. There's that little connector I was talking about. It's easier to probably just pop out once it's loose. So let me pop that out and I'll pull the board out. All right, here is the board out of the Marshall amp. So what I was seeing is channel 2, both instrument and XLR did not work at all. And I tried the volume and I tried everything, and I didn't even hear like scratching, you know, like a dirty pot or anything. So it was just completely dead. So what I read was that a lot of times there's a button, it's this button here. This is it's labeled link channel 1. So the way that works is channel 1 also, it has an instrument connector as well, but it's a stereo. It's a TRS jack. So you can plug in a stereo signal and you can hit this link to channel 1, and then that'll become, you know, I'm guessing it's the right side or something. So then channel 1 is like left and channel 2 is your right, or it might be vice versa. I look at the manual to verify it, but it becomes the second half of your stereo signal. So which is cool, because then you can control that side of that stereo signal on this whole channel. But then what I read was if this gets dirty, it basically goes dead. So like I think it doesn't even get stuck one way or another. It just, if the contacts are dirty, it basically mutes the channel. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna spray some contact cleaner. It's hard to, there's a little bit of a gap here. I'm gonna spray a little bit in, let it seep in, and I'm just gonna do this a bunch of times, and that should kind of get that contact cleaner scrubbing in there back and forth a bunch. And then that should hopefully take care of the problem. Okay, so I use my trusty Deoxit. I love this stuff. I've fixed so many things with this stuff, where it's like people are replacing pots or jacks or just throwing away equipment. Sometimes just spray it and clean it, and it fixes it. And I like this too, because it puts a little level of protection on the contacts, and then to kind of keep it from corroding again. So what I did that, and I sprayed, and I just did this maybe for like 30 seconds. I actually put it back in the unit, powered it on, and just kind of loosely, you know, didn't put it all back together. And that worked. That actually cleaned it up. You could tell. And I was, even when it was in the unit, I'd kind of do this a couple times, and sometimes it'd fail again, and then it would work. And then so I kept doing it more and more and more. And the more I played with it, the more of that contact cleaner kind of got in there and scrubbed it, and now it's working perfectly. But I did find next to it is a phase button, which just basically flips the phase back and forth. If I did that button, I had a couple times where that one caused it to mute. So I did the same thing. I sprayed it and did play around with it a little bit. And then while I was in there too, I kind of tried to get as much as on the bottom ones. But that didn't seem, these didn't have any effect. Like I didn't find problems at this point. But, you know, kind of while you're in here, just do it. And then while you're here too, you know, might as well, just because, you know, get in there and spray these, just so you don't have to take it all apart again and just play with it. But this, that spraying it and playing around with that caused that one to work perfectly as well. So that was the problem, that kind of little bit of couple sprays of that fix this whole channel from being completely dead. Here you go, you can re-zip tied this. So it's quite a bit of wire has to be cinched up so that when you put the speaker back in, this is the other side I haven't done yet, how much wire is just flop around in there. But if you don't zip tie it up, it can rattle around in there, so you don't want that. You don't want any kind of crazy noises, so make sure you zip tie that. And then this is why we cut it, because it gives you that much wire, so that when you pull the amp through the back, all that wire can feed through there, and then you don't have to unplug anything. It's actually kind of nice. All right, this is plugged back in. Here's this switch I was talking about, that link to channel 1. So I'm just gonna play, this is some note. You can hear it. From my guitar. But as soon as you hit this, totally mutes channel 2 here. This will switch, bring him up, back out. You can hear it. So when that switch goes bad, it's basically thinking it's in, it's activated. So that's what was happening here. It was trying to play the signal like it was linked to channel 1. So it was trying to get the stereo signal from channel 1 to do all this stuff on channel 2. So it was actually ignoring any input on channel 2. So cleaning that up makes that switch actually work instead of just stuck, you act like it's stuck in. And then, like I said, I had the problems with this phase. You can hear it's just basically flipping between the phase back and forth, and that works now too. But that seems to be a pretty common problem, is this link channel 1 switch. Just get some cleaner in there and try that out.